Well, hi. You guys are in for a treat. The lighting may be terrible, but this is by far the best butternut squash soup you will ever taste. Technically, it's a vegan recipe, but I added a little bit of chicken stock, and one way or the other, silky, smooth, flavorful, so delicious.
Let's start with the ingredients. You're going to want some ginger. You're going to want some olive oil, an onion, some garlic, some red pepper flakes, some unsweetened coconut milk, a standard size butternut squash, and for garnish, some cilantro, some lime, and some unsweetened coconut chips, which I keep in a Talenti container.
When making butternut squash soup in the past, I've always roasted the butternut squash before, but not in this case. We're going to peel it and cube it and boil it with a bunch of other delicious ingredients on the stove.
First things first, we are going to skin and coarsely chop one whole onion. I start everything with a whole onion. I swear, I don't bake a cake unless it starts with a chopped onion. The beauty of this is that it doesn't have to be pretty, because once this baby gets sauteed, it's all going into a blender. We're going to put that first ingredient right into a mixing bowl. Next, we're going to take 3 or 4 medium cloves of garlic, skin them, give them a coarse chop. Once again, these do not have to be pretty. They're going right into a saute pan, and from the saute pan, right into a blender. We'll add those to the mixing bowl. Next up is our ginger. You only need about 2 inches. As you know, you peel the ginger with the back of your spoon to get into all those nooks and crannies. I've already peeled these, so I'm just going to slice them into coins, about the size of a quarter. Into the mixing bowl they go. Take a small handful of cilantro, get rid of some of those leaves off the stem. Let's give those a nice chop for later. We're going to use this as a garnish. We'll set that aside for later. And we're going to take the rest of these with some of the fine, tender stems, which can be used into our mix. I'll get rid of the hard edges at the end. And those are going to go right into our mixing bowl as well. That's about 1/4 cup. My flexible cutting board is a little slippery, so you must know this trick. Take a damp paper towel, put it underneath, and slippage is gone. Next, we go to the star of the show, the butternut squash. I am going to shave off both tips. I'm going to cut the whole thing in half. And using a vegetable peeler, we're going to peel the skin. You're going to want a nice, strong vegetable peeler for this, because you can see there's a little layer of white between the skin and the butternut squash meat. So you want to get through that white. Not too much. It's all good. It's all cookable. You just want to get rid of the skin. This is the hard part and requires a little patience. So if your peeler's not doing the trick, you can take a knife and just shave off the edges of your skin. While this may seem like a little bit more work, it is worth it in the long run, because roasting it would take a good ½ hour to 45 minutes. Once this boils on the stove, in 15 minutes it is done. So we're going to cut this down the center, and as you know, we have to scoop out the seeds. Cut your butternut squash down the center, cut it into quarters, and then we're going to slice it into thick slices. Again, doesn't have to be pretty. Once it boils down, it's all going into a blender. And that concludes our prep work. Done. Take a 13-ounce can of unsweetened coconut milk, give it a good shake. Let's pop open that lid. And I am going to reserve, about, I don't know, 2 or 3 tablespoons for garnish. Once that oil heats up, we're going to add our onion mixture. This is the onion, the garlic, the cilantro, and the ginger. Oh, that smells so good already. To this I will add about 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Don't go crazy, because the ginger is going to give it plenty of spice. And I would say, about 1 teaspoon, a ½ teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt. Kosher salt would be preferable, but I don't have it. So I'm going to use regular table salt. 5 minutes in, and this kitchen smells like a Thai palace with that ginger and cilantro and red pepper and garlic and onion. That is beautiful and ready. We're going to toss in our butternut squash, all chopped up. We're going to give that a toss so everything gets coated. We're going to add the rest of that can of coconut soup. You're going to add just enough water to cover the vegetables. I'm going to add just a little chicken stock as well. Not necessary, I just happen to have it and I want to use it up. Give it a stir, turn it up high, bring it to a boil. Oh my God, this smells so good. We're going to turn this down to medium, medium-low, and stirring occasionally while it simmers for about 12 to 15 minutes. This luscious soup has been simmering for about 17 minutes. Find your thickest chunk, and if a fork pierces it, simply like that, you are ready to go. I'm going to get this off the flame, we're going to let it cool down so that we can put it in the blender. While the soup is cooling, and the kitchen smells heavenly, by the way, it's the perfect time to prepare some of our garnish for the top. In this case, the coconut flakes, which we are going to toast. It's really important that you keep an eye on these because they turn in an instant. You just want them to go to a nice sort of golden caramel color. There's our before. There is our after. Literally 60 seconds under the broiler. Those look perfect to me. I'm going to crumble them just a little bit. Okay, time for the magic to happen. To help the soup cool quicker, I put it into a metal bowl, and I am going to work in batches and ladle it into this blender. This is not a fancy blender. You do not need a $300 high-speed blender. This is a simple Black & Decker. I think 3 ladles at a time will do it. We will cover it and give it a go. Start it on low, go to a little higher, and then you will see that rich, luxurious, velvety, creamy soup. Oh, look at that. This soup is still hot enough to eat. Look at the steam that's coming out of it. And then once you get it in the pot, you want to just stir it up and incorporate all of those batches. It is beautiful. The color is elegant. It smells so fragrant, and it is creamy and luscious as it can be. Now remember, this is a vegan recipe, but I added a little chicken stock just because. Now remember the 3 garnishes. First, we're going to take a little drizzle of the coconut milk, just lightly circle it on top. And then we're going to take a little sprig of our cilantro, and then our delicious browned coconut chips. And there you have it. Butternut squash of the decade. I made this soup for me, and I have a special guest arriving this weekend. But this is as elegant and as delicious as anything you can serve. It's fit for a king. I wouldn't hesitate to serve it for guests. Perfect for holiday. Try it. You'll like it. Thanks for watching. Share. Subscribe. Till next time.